Okay, so you've just learned how to have an object move through space, and I'll run my test movie again for you here. Following along a classic tween, and how you can simply change that by moving it up to the top where in this keyframe here in the middle, and then it would revert back to where you've told it to go at the end of the keyframe. Just to sort of elaborate on that a little bit further, also consider how you can change the size of something at any point. And if you've put a classic tween on before you change the size and you put in a keyframe, you can now manipulate that object and it will change from small to large back to small. In order to change sizes in Flash, you need to use the free transform tool. The shortcut is Q on your keyboard. And you actually have to click on it or hit Q before you can actually move and change the object. If you want to hold Shift, like in every other program, you can make something grow or shrink proportionally. And now if you look, this object is moving, but it goes larger when it gets to frame 30, and then it goes back. We'll run the little test movie here so you can see. Great. So that's a really easy way to apply that classic tween thing again. What I want you to think about is starting to apply this stuff to things that you've actually drawn in your movie. So let's take, for instance, the yellow planet. It's in the top corner up there. You see it? Keep in mind that much like all your other Adobe programs, you've got hiding and showing layers here with the eyeball. You need to click on the dots. You've got locking layers, which is going to come in handy later when you've got a complicated animation happening. That's important. This is also a really good way to figure out what layer you're working on. So let's do a real simple classic tween on this guy here. And I just want to show you a couple other things about Flash to think about. So let's say that from between frame 1 and frame 30, we're going to have the little yellow planet in the corner here just grow and shrink again maybe by the time it gets to frame 60. Something to consider in Flash, we're working at 24 frames per second. When you're looking up here at this timeline, all of these are an indication of the number of frames. So at 24, that's 1 second of your movie. Okay, and at 48, that's 2 seconds of your movie. So you can consider how many frames it's going to take to make a movie that's maybe a minute long. It takes a long time. This animation can repeat over and over and loop over and over again, so you don't have to worry about how long it is. It's more about what's happening, and is it happening slowly or too quickly or chaotically? You want it to look like it's natural. Okay, so we're going to insert a keyframe here. Really important thing to note. What's just happened here? I've told my movie that in frame 30, I would like the yellow planet to be there. But consider that I haven't told Flash that I want anything else to be there in frame 30. So if you're going to decide that at frame 30 a number of different things happen, then go ahead and insert keyframes all across frame 30. So we'll just scroll down here. So see how I've clicked in the layer below, the orange planet. Scroll down, hold Shift, click to the bottom, and now I've selected the entire row of frame 30. Hit Control so you can right click or use your right click button on your mouse and insert keyframes all across. So boom, now all of a sudden you have your whole movie all together again. You can still make changes to anything you've done in any one of these keyframes. You can still add new keyframes in here, but it's important to know that if you don't add this all in, you haven't told your movie that this should be there by frame 30, and that's on purpose. So let's put a classic tween on the yellow planet again. Select the first frame and all the way to frame 30. Control click or right click and create a classic tween. Now in frame 30, I'm going to free transform my little yellow planet here and make him bigger. So tiny it's hard to click on. There we go. Great. I'm going to have the same thing happen. I'm going to have it shrink by frame 60. So I'm going to go ahead and add keyframes in everywhere along frame 60 because I want my whole movie to come along. Awesome. Okay, and it actually already continued the tween on for me. It often does that in the program. But in frame 60, I want to tell it to go back to being small again. Okay, and what it should do is blink, like as if it's blinking in the corner. So let's look at that little animation. Whoa, so exciting. So, you know, that's not very riveting, but that might just be what happens in that might be just what this little guy does, and everything else around here does something more interesting, or maybe these guys glow and twinkle like a star. But that can be example of a simple animation that you do in your movie. So the important thing from this lesson, using Classic Tweens to make things grow or shrink or change shape or size, and also using the Classic Tween to make things move from one place to another. So I could have chosen to make this planet fly out and come back. I could have chosen to make this one do that. Another important lesson from this is simply that you need to tell Flash to show the rest of your movie once you make a change by adding new keyframes across. So to keep populating your keyframes as you go. And even though this is in here, I could certainly go right into this layer here. I could insert a keyframe here and decide that now I'm going to make a change to this little planet. Maybe I'll have him fly out the side. It's going to happen really fast if it's only 15 frames, but that's okay. So I'll put a Classic Tween here. So between frame 1 and 15, I'm going to tell Flash that I want this guy to go away. So he's literally going to fly out the side, right? And he's going to come back because I originally told the program that in frame 30, he should be there, right? So let's watch that. Woo! Okay, so those are the 2 little animations you learned how to do so far. And move on to the next tutorial, and you're going to learn how to make objects follow a path and make objects change color. And we'll keep working towards all the different things you'll learn in Flash. Good luck!